You have to determine what's more important, you having control of that item or your time freedom. I didn't realize how much time I spent bringing in my items. And then I didn't realize like me and Joe had to like figure out a time that worked for both of us where we could sit down for 6 hours and unpack and list, take it to the UPS store, take the cardboard, take the garbage. It's the little things, it's like that
Yeah.
made up so much time. Now I'm like, what am I doing with all my time?
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Reselling Freedom coaching call. And in today's call, we're going to be talking with the one and only Amanda. Amanda's
Yes.
been inside of Reselling Freedom for quite a long time. She's gone through a lot of my training. She's a coach as well inside of Reselling Freedom. And today we're going to be talking about Amanda's journey over the last year and a half, I believe, right? Year and a half you've been
Yeah.
running your Amazon business. And we're going to talk about how she hit the $100,000 mark in sales in her Amazon business. We're going to be talking about her journey, how she got started, what types of products she's selling, what's her specific business model, what were the challenges that she went through as a brand new seller. And I'll say right now, Amanda is a trooper because she was sick, I believe, last week. I reached out to her and I said, hey, are you sure you don't want to change the days to another day for this call? And she says, listen, my voice is out, but I'm still going to be doing it. So you know what? I said, all right, if you want to do it, I'm not going to stop a girl from wanting to do it and jump on this call. So what's going on, Amanda? How are you?
Good. Yep. The show must go on. So hopefully you guys can understand me just fine. I feel great. It just my voice is a little shot. So we'll just make it work, right? You know.
I love it. I love it. Yeah. I forced her. I said, you better show up. You better not miss this call. No.
Yeah, you were pretty adamant, like no excuses, none. I don't care if you can't talk, you're doing it.
Well, hey, it's great to have you here. You've been featured on my YouTube channel quite a few times. A lot of the folks in the Reselling Freedom, eBay to Amazon flipping community, they know you. And it's funny, as we're starting this call, for folks who don't know, a car hit my house 6 months ago. And right when this call starts, I look out the window, they're starting to put scaffolding on my house right now. So I might be muting myself a little bit. So I apologize if the craziness continues. But Amanda, you hit $100,000 in sales recently. Talk to us about how long have you been selling on Amazon exactly? Is it a year and a half? And how did you get started? How did you learn about, the Amazon opportunity?
Yeah, so I've been doing it for a year and a half now. I started because I saw your TikTok video, just scrolling through, and it was like, oh, this guy, Steve, looks like I could do that. Like, why not? So then, I went down that rabbit hole. I went and watched all your videos. And then I just went through like, a bunch of other people who sell books. I'm like, I could do that. So I downloaded all the, softwares and I just went out to my thrift store and I came out with like 30 books. And I'm like, okay, I could do this. And then, I just kept going and going. And I've got a lot of thrift stores around. And so I would just go in and get like 20 or 30 books every time I went. So it's like, to me, no one in my town is thrifting books. So I just saw that as a huge opportunity. And I just kind of haven't looked back since and just kept going,
So
you know?
you're in the Washington area, Seattle area.
Yeah, I'm Central Washington. So I'm about 3 hours from Seattle.
Got you. So you saw my TikTok, you saw me, flipping and thrifting books and whatnot. So you started doing that. Um, did you have like a disbelief of like, can I actually do this? And you went out there and you're like, I'm going to just try this? Or did you have a feeling, I think this is possible?
I mean, I was kind of like unsure if this was like the real thing. Like people tell you, you know, all these gurus like make $1,000 on this game app or whatever. But I figured because I was putting in so much work that it had to work. Like I wasn't just sitting and playing a game. I wasn't just doing something and making money. I was actually going out and doing something and learning. And, I watched so many people on YouTube. They all had the same experience and I put in the work and it just worked. I felt like I'm not doing this for nothing, right? At least I hoped I wasn't.
So were you making money in the beginning or were you struggling? What was it like those first couple of months? You know, you went out, you're going to the thrift stores, you're buying all these books. Were you doing FBM, FBA? Were you making money? Were your books selling for a good amount of money? Were they selling for $5? Talk to us about, how that went in the beginning.
Yeah, so my first month I did $27 in sales or something. That's when me and you connected. I was like, I'm doing everything right, but it's not working and it has to work. I put so much energy and time and into this. Um, and luckily we were able to figure out I was just pricing all wrong. But and then once I figured that out, things started selling and I did straight FBA. I didn't do FBM. Um, and so yeah, I just sent all my books in and they started selling.
I
It's
love how
just
you were saying I was doing everything right when you were doing everything wrong. Like literally,
I,
you were buying
yeah.
books that were like 5, 7, 8 million rank. You had
Yeah.
books listed at like $4 and you had no idea how to tell like how much money you were making, so on and
Yeah.
so forth. You weren't repricing anything.
I was
So it's
not working
interesting.
smarter. I was working hard, not smart.
You thought you were doing it the right way when in all
Yeah.
actuality, you were doing everything the wrong way.
Yeah. And that's why it's so important to have a community of people to tell you when you're not doing it right, you know? Yesterday I've been kind of contemplating about making some changes, and someone set up straight up to me was like, "You're being an idiot. You're not doing the right thing. You're spinning your wheels. You're not going anywhere. Slow down." So it's nice to have somebody in the community who gives you that harsh truth of like when you're not doing something smart and when you are doing something smart because I thought I was doing everything right, but sometimes somebody's got to tell you you're not. So, and that's why this community is so amazing,
So
you
right
know.
now you're doing a lot more than just books. You sell a ton of products. You've come a long way, and I don't want to spoil the surprise. We're going to get into that, but how did you transition from just going to thrift stores and books to now you're doing online arbitrage, you're doing eBay to Amazon, you're doing all this stuff. So again, take us back to when you were sourcing, talk about, you know, how did you scale to 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, and then why? And why did you decide to transition to E to A and all these other things, the pros and cons? I would kind of like you to take us back to that point because there's a lot of people who they don't have money to do online arbitrage, eBay to Amazon, hire VAs, prep centers, which we're going to talk about. So, bring us back to that point. What happened?
My back, I have back issues and books aren't light. They're not easy to lug around. And I was doing it all myself. And it just got to a point where my body just physically wasn't keeping up, which makes me so sad because I would probably be still doing books. Like I know my thrift stores right now is a gold mine. Like I'm leaving products there that I could be selling, but my back is like not gonna, and I can't do anything if I don't have my physical health. So that is really the only reason why I had to give up books was because I physically couldn't anymore, which is so sad.
What
But
was the most money you were making with books, like going out to thrift stores and stuff? Like, what did you get your sales up to with strictly books and thrifting and local pickups and all that?
I would say it was about 5,000 a month in books. Like it was great, but I knew I could do better. You
Yeah.
have, Joji and Victor doing hundreds of, thousands and thousands a month, so it is possible.
Yeah, but they're
So
doing online arbitrage. They're not
that's
thrifting.
true.
Like they're doing zero thrifting. You were actually out
Yeah.
there thrifting, hitting the stores. How much time were you spending going out thrifting to get up to 5,000 a month in sales?
Um, well, it was kind of crazy because I still have my day job. So I'd work my day job from 5 to 1, and then I'd hit the thrift stores from like maybe 3 to 5 or 3 to 8, depending on how like I could tolerate it. So I was hitting them, I would say 40 hours a week. It was pretty, and then all day Saturday, all day Sunday, I travel, 45 minutes an hour to different locations. Um, so I spent a lot of time, which
Was
is
it
crazy.
worth it though? That seems like you were probably working for minimum wage. I mean, at the end of the day, if you're putting in that much time and then you have to list them, then you have to ship them, and on 5,000 in sales, like maybe you're making what, 3,000 in profit, maybe
Yeah.
3,500 if you're getting, items for $1 or so. Was it worth it looking back? Like, was that one of the reasons why you also transitioned to eBay to Amazon and online arbitrage to be able to leverage your time a bit more?
Absolutely. You know, like I knew I could reach 5,000, but it was so hard to reach that 5,000. There was so much sweat equity in there. And I just can't do that forever. And so and then eBay to Amazon came along and I'm like, yes, please. I can do so much better, so much better products. Yeah.
I'm trying to remember because this was a while ago. So you've been doing this all together, what, a year and a half or so?
Yeah.
When
Since
did you start
August of
eBay to Amazon?
So I started my first shipment was in August of 2022. I started eBay in December of 2022.
Oh wow. So only about 4 months after. You learned quite quickly. This is killing my back. This is taking a ton of time. You
Yeah,
were making money, but you had no life.
right. Oh, no, I had no life. What was that?
Yeah, and when you transitioned to eBay to Amazon, were you doing only books or were you doing a lot of products? I'm curious about how that went for you.
I did do a lot of books. I made a mistake and bought a leads list on books, and hundreds of people bought that leads list.
Wasn't that Fiverr?
Yeah.
You're crazy. I love it though. You're trying things. You never know,
And
but
a lot of people recommended this person. And so like my close friends recommended this person. They said, "Oh, I've never had a product tank." Well, this one tanked and I bought probably like 60 books, all tanked. Um, and so because of that, I decided I'm going to move on from books because just can't do it. It is so easy and you're able to flip a $5 book for 35. Easy, no problem, like on Flip Mine. But when you're doing it from a leads list, it's not that simple.
yeah,
So,
people talk up leads lists all the time. Like lead lists are great until you send all your stuff in and you're rolling the dice. You're playing Russian roulette. You don't know if it's, if you're gonna have a bunch of people come on the listing and tank the price. It's like you're either in first or you're out last many times. And if you're getting in with like a lot of books, you know how it is with books, same with DVDs. Matter of fact, a lot of products that we flip from eBay to Amazon, they're not selling a ton. We're going after slower selling stuff. We don't have invoices. We're trying to ride low underneath the radar. If you only have a product that's selling 4 or 5 times a month and you get 50 people to come on the listing, that thing may never recover.
they will never sell, which I did that many times.
So, when's the right time for somebody to look into eBay to Amazon or Amazon to Amazon? Again, this isn't a whole like, oh, you should go do eBay to Amazon, do whatever you want, right? But for you, you found it beneficial because you were able to do it from home. You didn't have to break your back. You obviously work a job as well. So it's good to be home, spending time with your husband, family, all that stuff. So, what's your best advice for folks who, maybe they don't want to be going out thrifting and hitting garage sales all the time? Like, how did you transition? Because it costs more money to do online arbitrage versus thrifting. So what was your mindset? How did you make that switch?
I just knew I could spend more time at home sourcing online, and that was important to me. And I did know there'd be more capital involved, but there's more money to also be made. The saying goes, the more you spend, the more you make, which I feel like is true. If I spend $80 on a product, I'm probably going to get an 80 or 100% ROI on that. Like for me, that's worth it. I will spend that all day. But just it does take time to get there. I just think it comes down to trusting yourself and what works for you. For me, it was eBay to Amazon. For other people, it might be traditional OA, or they might go from books to doing traditional retail arbitrage. It really you just have to find out who you are and like what your mindset is. For me, it was eBay to Amazon just because I liked it.
I think you did things right though. You learned how to sell books and products on Amazon. You learned how to list, you learned how to ship, you learned how to do it on a budget. And that's the greatest thing about thrifting and garage sales and local pickups and estate sales. You can buy products on a budget. And it's funny how a lot of people, a lot of resellers, especially thrifters, they think they're really good at running a business. But the thing is, yeah, you're able to find items and scan items and find good deals, but your cost of goods is so low, you can mess up all other areas of your business and still make money because you're finding your product so low. But once you start doing like what you're doing, where your cost of goods isn't 8% of your expenses anymore, now it's, 30%, 40%, you have to really run a tight ship. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I really appreciated the way you did things. You learned the basics. You learned how to list and ship and source and know your numbers. And then you slowly moved on to it. When do you advise people start E to A or A to A or OA? Like 3 months in, 6 months in, a year in? Do you feel like you got into it too early, too late?
I don't think so. I think I did a lot of, from, August to December is not a long time. Some people will say, "Oh no, you need 6 months or whatever," but um I made mistakes and I learned from them and I just kept going. Um and I just think that you have books is so easy to start with because your mistakes are $1 or $2. They're not $80. So and it just teaches you how to like read the Kibograph and what you might have missed before, and then you learn from that and keep going. Um, and that is what I love about books, is it taught me so much about what to avoid.
But Amanda, how are you thrifting and doing local pickups and garage sales and eBay to Amazon without invoices? How? How is your account still alive, Amanda? Everybody says it's not possible. All the OA and wholesale guys and gals say you can't thrift, you can't do E to A, you can't do A to A, you're going to get kicked off. How's your account health right now? I actually
It's
don't know.
it's perfect. Like I've had no issues, nothing. And people say that. And when we're at the Miami Seller Conference, I asked, these guys who've been selling for years, how many times have you been asked for an invoice? And they say once or twice in like 5, 10 years, 5 years, once or twice. Like, why are we so I feel like we're so paranoid for such a small percentage. And you just have to kind of do your due diligence. Don't sell a hot top or a hot selling item. I like selling items that sell 15 times a month. Like for some people, that's insane. For traditional OA, that's insane. That would never sell. But
That's high
me,
for
that
me.
sells, huh?
I don't even sell items that hot either. Mine are mostly 5 to 10 times a month. Sorry to cut you off, but I agree.
No, yeah. Come like, I just don't think that companies care about these, you know, slower selling, um, you know,
Yeah, under the
older
radar
issued
products.
items. Yeah.
Yeah, discontinued, vintage. But the reality is, at the end of the day, like we're kind of sticking it to the haters right now. But the reality is, you do
Yeah.
have to be careful. The reality is, if you come into any type of product from a thrift store, garage sale, hey, you could have bought it 5 years ago and sell it from your house, E to A, it doesn't matter. If it's a super hot selling product, if the storefront's on it, if the Keepa chart is showing the number of sellers have dropped off, if IP alert is warning you, if it's a super hot product, this, it's so funny. I see these people on TikTok and YouTube and they're going into Marshalls and all that, and they're scanning items and they're showing like, I could pick this up for 17 and flip it for 50 and it sells 80 times a month. There's only one seller on it. It's the storefront. It's like, but the people love it. They eat it up, but nobody says anything to them. You think a
Or you
freaking
see
Marshall's receipt is going to work?
the user counts just like skyrocket and the buy box is starting to go down. They don't show you that.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah,
I like.
it's the Amazon space is like a clown show sometimes, but you do have to, at the end of the day, you have to learn what to do. Like you have to learn how to read a Keepa chart, you have to learn what products to stay away from without invoices, so on and so forth. What types of products are you flipping? Okay, so you started with books, you kind of got out of that, you were breaking your back, and you're like, listen, some of these things are tanking, which books are great, right? I have a lot of students and friends who flip books, but I know you flip a lot of other products. So give us your secrets. Give us your hidden gems. Give us your top selling, most profitable ASINs, Amanda.
My most profitable is, I think, electrical item. It's a converter or a
Electron
reverse something. Yeah, it's an electronic. I don't even know
like
what it
tools.
is. Yeah, or what it does, but it sells really well every time. Um, but no, yeah, I sell a lot of electronics. I sell a lot of DVDs, board games. Board games are amazing during Q4. Um, And I want to get into, different categories, but those are my main ones, the electronics, DVDs, CDs, and stuff like that. Yeah.
You ever
I just kind of keep it small.
you ever flip like puzzles or records, CDs,
No, I used to flip
cassettes?
vinyl, but vinyl's so
Yeah.
hard because it's such, and maybe this is kind of where like the prep center came in because vinyls are so big that they wouldn't fit in the boxes that I had. So then you got to kind of like, well, I can't put it in this type of box because it's too big according to Amazon. And so just getting it shipped into Amazon was a nightmare just because of the size.
So we're going to be talking about prep centers, but before that, I want to talk about something big that you implemented into your business. I think this might have been, I don't know, 6 months ago. You've been growing so quickly. You hired a virtual assistant. How long ago was that? Was that 8 months ago?
I
6 months
hired her
ago?
in June, so 10 months.
June. Wow, 10 months. So
Yeah.
talk about that, right? Talk about what is a virtual assistant? Why did you hire a virtual assistant and what do they do in your business?
Absolutely. So I had initially hired two virtual assistants, and I'm down to one. Um, and I loved hiring two at the get-go, because all three of us were so new to this. I was their first client, they were my first, so it was just kind of a learning experience. Um, and the one I had to let go gave me so many red flags from the start that I just ignored and I made excuses for.
Like she
Uh,
had another employer?
she did. She had another employer. Um, and she wasn't performing. And every time I talked to her, she wouldn't change. She just came with excuses. Um, and so that to me was a learning experience on how to communicate and how to be clear on the expectations. So even though it sucked letting someone go, in the end, I learned so much about myself and how to communicate what they expect, what I expect, and then so now I'm down to one, and she's amazing. I love her. She's so great. Um,
What does she
she
do?
she sources for me. So she's my one sourcer. She also does like repricing. She does my cogs in Seller Board. She and updates spreadsheets and stuff like that. So she does a little bit of odd stuff, but mainly sourcing.
So where does she source products for you?
eBay to Amazon. So she goes on Flipmine and then she sources from our master replen list. So which she's really good at what she does. So I just kind of let her do her thing as long as she's bringing the numbers every day. I don't care how she does it. So, and she does. So.
And how hard was that to train a virtual assistant to be able to source products? Because, it's like the secret sauce of the business, right? You could list and ship and reprice and do it all right. But if you pick the wrong items, then, you're pretty much SOL. So what did that process look like hiring somebody? Where did you hire them from? And then how long did it take to actually train them to purchase items and, kind of figure out how to do it the way you want them to do it?
Yeah, so their first day was June 1st of last year. And I spent 40 hours every week with them for 4 weeks. So June was the worst month of my life, as opposed to December. December was pretty bad too. But June, I worked, my day job from 5 to 2, and then I would jump on with them from 2:30 to 11, 6 days a week. And it was a lot of time and effort, but it was worth it. It was worth it completely. I probably took a little bit slower than most people. Most people probably would do it in 2 or 3 weeks, but I wanted to be very confident that like whatever they're buying is gonna sell and they're not missing things. Um, so yeah, it took about 4 weeks for them to be purchasing on their own and not me like having to worry about anything.
And were you concerned about them like stealing from you or hacking you or scamming you? Because that's what a lot of Amazon sellers say. when I tell them like I have a team that does it all. They're like, what if they steal and scam you and this and that? So, I mean, I'm sure you had I had concerns when I was new. I mean, but what happened? Like, has it all worked out? Have they lost you any money, bad buys, stolen from
Yeah,
you?
bad buys, of course, but we go through it and we talk about it and then we kind of go move on from there. I think it's important that we all learn from each other. Um, but for I was not worried about them stealing my information because they only have the last four of my credit card on eBay because they're only purchasing from eBay. So it's just log
Gotcha.
into my account, they just purchase it and it goes to my house. I look at all my purchases every day. And so if I see something that's like not like if it's a toy or if it's like something that like doesn't feel right, I feel like now with like the master sheet also, there's so many checks and balances in place that they could not do it. Like, the purchases get automatically added to the master sheet. So they'd have to go in and
What is
delete
this
it.
master sheet that you're talking about? People, I don't think if anyone's even going to know what the master sheet is. Is this a software? Is this something you've created?
Oh, I created this 100% on my own. No, no, it's something you created, Steve. It's an amazing tool. Like I could not run my business without it for sure.
I'll pay you after.
Thanks. But without it, like I would not know how to run my business. It tells me the purchases, how much, the quantity, and then where it's going. So there's no way my VA could steal from me. Like it's automatically added. Like I would love to see her try, but it just wouldn't
Yeah.
happen. Wouldn't
Yeah. So
happen.
for those, I've mentioned this in a couple of videos. I've built a software for myself and then I released it to, friends and students and whatnot. It integrates with eBay. So it's a spreadsheet that integrates with eBay. So every time you purchase an item on eBay, all the information gets pulled over. I mean, it's got a million different automations and whatnot. But I mean, I agree. Without that, I mean, it would be an absolute nightmare managing all the purchases. So where did you hire your VA from, Amanda?
The Philippines.
But from how did you find them? Did you
Oh,
fly to the Philippines? Did you go hang out with Avery and Taylor and go?
I wish. Onlinejobs.ph.
Yep.
So, um, also like I took your and Joji's course, the VA Academy, which is an amazing course if you want to teach your VA how to flip eBay to Amazon because it goes through everything
It's
and it's
not a
got a
course.
quiz.
It's not a course though.
What is it?
It's an academy. Like you run your VAs through it. It's not like a
Yeah.
course where you're having to go and study it and whatnot.
Oh,
I just want to be clear because people are gonna be like, it's a course. It's not a course. But anyways, keep going.
but it's amazing. Like it you and Joji go in depth about Flip Mine and Keepa and Seller Amp, and then at the end are quizzes. And so they're not only retaining the information, but they're applying it. And so that's honestly the only way I was able to train my VA because I'm so new to this. Like I was like, I have no idea how to train them. So without that, I don't think I could have done it. But
Well, I appreciate it. I'll pay you again.
double
For the
now.
test. People are gonna think this is an inside job.
I know, right?
How do you communicate with your VA? So say they mess up, make a bad buy. Are you calling them, Zooming them, shooting Loom videos? Like how do you train and kind of communicate with them?
Yeah, so if it's just like, hey, checking in today, it's through Facebook Messenger. I would say that's about 90% of where we communicate. Um, and then we do once a week a Skype call just to kind of go over everything, where we're going, where we're at, things we can do better. She also gives her insight on what she thinks could be better. And she feels comfortable enough to do that, which is amazing. Um, and then if she doesn't understand something, like she's like, can you show me this again? I'll do a Loom video. I love Loom because you can just show
Yeah.
your screen.
Yep.
And so that's about it. Like it's pretty minimal, honestly. It's not a whole lot of time like people would think. It's not constant communication. I mean, there are days where it's like, hey, good morning, I'm here. And then it's like off for lunch. I'm back from lunch. And then at the end of the day, this
Yeah.
is what I did. Like Like, she'll be like, I made 15 purchases today. And I'm like, perfect. I went on a date with my husband and that's it. And that's my business.
And
And I bought 15 things.
and my back's not sore.
Exactly. Exactly. So the
Yeah,
business
yeah.
still goes on when I don't work, which is amazing.
Yeah, yeah. I'm in a similar position now where literally I just log into my master sheet and it organizes it per the date and everything. So I can see, oh, okay, yesterday we purchased 15 items. I could see who purchased it, what they paid, my ROIs, my profit, everything. And I mean, in the beginning, you do have to spend a ton of time. Anyone who tells you like hiring a team or getting a virtual assistant or a prep center, which we're going to talk about soon, is easy and it's all passive. It is down the road. Okay. Don't let Gary Vee or anybody tell you passive income doesn't exist. It exists. It is very like it's not as easy as it sounds. And most things out there are a scam. But the reality is like you can make Amazon semi-passive after you put in a boatload of freaking work in the beginning with a VA, with a prep center, so on and so forth. But that's cool. So you're using the master sheet to manage your eBay to Amazon business. You're using Loom for recordings and communication, Facebook Messenger. You give your VAs access to your eBay account. So just what, a login and password, essentially.
Yeah. Yeah.
They have access to what? Keepa, SellerAmp. What else? What else are your VAs using to help you to run your business and manage it?
Oh man.
Your prep center.
Yeah, she goes in and adds the purchased items. That's really about and flip mine.
Flip
Um,
mine.
that's really about it. There's not a lot of softwares that I currently use for my eBay to Amazon.
Do
Luckily,
they
there's
have did you give them a license to IP alert so they can get that warning pop up as well?
I did because those generic
Listing.
listings can get you.
Yeah.
And I didn't want something me not wanting to like pay for something to ruin everything. So yeah, they have a lifetime access to IP alert.
Yeah. Yeah. So generic listings, it's a new thing that Amazon's kind of hitting you with now. You can actually get deactivated, suspended. They hit people with a lot of Section 3 violations, which Section 3 is just like in their terms of service, which pretty much says like we can kick you off for whatever reason. And
Yeah.
a lot of people have been finding out it's because of the generic listing. So people will like go around a Logitech listing and build their own to try to get around it to outrank and do, a lot of black hat tactics. So you can't do that anymore. IP alert's great for that because it will warn you. So that's fantastic. What are you what are your what's your 30-day average right now? Because we haven't talked in a little bit. Are you still around the 15K mark or are you
Yep.
higher?
I'm a little higher. I'm at 16K right now. So
Look at
I'm in a good
you.
day.
And what was your top sales month during Q4? What was the most you did in a month in sales?
I did 22K in December.
And what's your profit margin? Because people are going to want to know, like, because there's people out there who and wholesalers are notorious for this, even traditional OA
Yeah.
people, right? It's like they got their invoices, they'll go to bed, they'll sleep with it, like they feel so good, but then their like margins are down to like 10-15%, which is fine. Again, you could sleep at night, you
Yeah.
got your invoices, it keeps you warm at night if you need to build a fire. But
Yeah. Snuggle up. Yeah.
what are your typical ROI or profit margins? If you spend 100 on an item, are you going to make a $10 profit, which is a 10% ROI profit margin? What are you looking at with your particular model?
So my bottom line is a $10 profit, which is actually $14 profit when I added my fees, and a 40% ROI.
Yeah.
That's very strict. That's a not
So that's a
budging.
so if you spend $100, you want to make a minimum of $40 on that profit, which would be a 40%.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. A lot of thrifters would be like, oh, I don't like that. If I spend 100, I want to make 300. But what's the reason why? Like, again, let's repeat ourselves because I've learned in this community, you have to repeat yourself 37 times for people to understand. Why would you not just thrift and you only have to spend $100 to make 300 versus now you have to spend 1,000 to make 300? Why, Amanda? You lunatic.
Because of the thrift stores, they only have so many products. They only have so many things new that you would want. I only sell new. So, I mean, I went to the thrift stores with my sisters this last week. I didn't find a single item that was new in the thrift store. Mind you, I was with my sisters and we were shopping. I was in there about an hour and found zero,
Why
nothing.
not used? Why are you only going after new?
I feel like used has a higher return rate. So,
Interesting.
in my opinion, and I like to buy things that I would buy. I personally would not buy a used item, in my
Got you.
opinion, unless it's a book. But
I mean,
it's,
I don't know if used items are a higher return rate. I think a lot of it depends on the category. Like if you're doing used electronics, 100% you're right. Used tools, 100% you're right. Used
yeah,
books, my return rate was always around like 2 to 4%. It was pretty low. Maybe with used DVDs might be higher, probably because it's like scratched up, maybe. Um, yeah, but interesting. Yeah, I mean, I like new personally just because you don't have to inspect it. It's new. You don't have to test it. It does hurt when an Amazon customer, I mean, those lovely Amazon customers who take your $100 item, open it up. Amanda's about to throw up in her mouth. They'll use
yeah,
it, enjoy it, consume it, write a book about it, and send it back destroyed. And Amazon, they do not have your back one bit.
no,
Disgusting.
no, it just, and then like being at home instead of thrifting is you can go through so many more products on Flipmine than you would in a thrift store. It's just
Yeah.
the amount and the quantity and the variety is so much better doing it at home than in a thrift store.
I mean, it does take time. I'm going to kind of play devil's advocate here, but it does take time to build up your capital. The thing with eBay to Amazon, if I could be perfectly transparent with everybody, is, yes, you could work from home. Yes, you can hire a VA to do it all for you. Yes, you can. I mean, literally, I've probably sourced like 5 items in the last like 5 months. Um, yes, you can literally never touch a product. I don't see products. I don't touch products anymore. Since the beginning of the year, I use a prep center now. And Amanda, you jumped on as well, which I kicked you into gear. You were like, I don't know. I don't know. And now you're gonna be like, I'll never go back. But the reality is your margins are much less than thrifting, and cash flow issues are a real thing when you get into wholesale, online arbitrage, eBay to Amazon, Amazon to Amazon. When your cost of goods go up from being 5% of your expenses up to 30 to 40%, you've got to make sure when you buy an item, it sells for what you think, or you reprice it, you get rid of items that don't sell after 30, 60 days, so on and so forth. So I don't want to go too deep into this because I have a couple more questions. Like I really want to drill in on the prep centers, but any advice you would give to folks who don't have, a couple $1,000 to get started, right? Or they don't have credit to be able to leverage, which is a slippery slope. Um, did you have any challenges, any advice you give to folks who are kind of building up their capital? Stick with thrifting, make as much money as you can before you transition. I mean, anything you can share?
I had strict rules, not strict, but whatever. I wasn't able to use our personal money for my business. So I only had $500 and that was it. And I couldn't tap into our personal, which is great. So I wish I would have done FBM first and build up my capital faster that way. Um, it would have taken more time, but at the end of the day, I would have gotten more money back. So that's what I would have done first,
I
is done
am
more FBM.
I am so glad that you brought up FBM. Now, I can't speak on FBM. Guys, when I tell you something, it's because I have experience in it. I'm not going to be sitting here yapping about FBM. I don't do FBM. I have very little experience. But what I do know about FBM is you get your money back a lot faster. Okay. You don't have to ship it to a fulfillment center. You don't have to deal with split shipments. You don't have to deal with FC transfers. You don't have to deal with Amazon losing your stuff. You can set up what is it called when you kind of if you sell something that you don't give them all the money back if they destroy it or a refund. What's it called? You do FBM, you know it. Like what happens if
Oh, a
I buy
restocking fee.
yeah, restocking fee. Yeah, what happens if I buy your item and then I like use it and
Destroy
enjoy
it.
it?
Yeah.
Because if it was FBA, you're screwed. But if say
Yeah.
I'm your customer and I don't know you and I buy a Guitar Hero from you that you spent $130 on brand new and you sold it to me for 280, I open it up, use it, abuse it, destroy it, and send it back. You can charge me a fee, whereas FBA, you're just SOL.
Yeah. I could charge you 99% It might be 100 now, 100% restocking fee, which is the full sale price. Yeah. And usually Amazon has your back on that one.
And you
And
get
that,
paid a lot quicker as well, right?
yeah. So for me, being on the West Coast is like the worst case scenario, because it takes my items 5 to 7 days to get to the warehouse. And then it takes, 3 days to check in. But then if it gets FC transfers, it's another 5 days. So I'm just at a losing cost. Like everything takes so long versus on the East Coast, you guys get it in like 2 days. I don't hear it. But and that's, I know that now. But I would have started FBM earlier and I wouldn't have listened to the people who say FBM doesn't sell because FBM does sell. It
You
sells.
killed it. Literally, Amanda freaking killed it in November and December. Killed it. I
Yeah.
remember sometimes because you and I we talk a few times a week. We stay in touch. We talk business. And I mean, I remember there were weeks I never talked to you. You weren't picking up your phone. You were shipping all day long. You were
Yeah, I did 183 FBM orders in December.
yeah.
183. That's a lot of boxes. That's a lot. And my post office is a half an hour away. So it's not like it's like a quick thing to do. But
Yeah.
the money was so good. I got it so much faster. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, FBM, and there's also less liability as well because one of the biggest worries that we all have with FBA is what if we get shut down or deactivated? Amazon will hold on to all your inventory, hold on to all your money, so on and so forth. There's just a lot less risk with FBM. I don't do it though. You might ask, well, Steve, why don't you do it? Just because I've made the decision with how I want to run this business with lifestyle, and I just don't want a job. I hate to say it. Anyone who does FBM, you are running a job. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's a job. It is what it is. Whereas now what Amanda's doing, and again, don't take that the wrong way, but it's a job. But now what you're doing, you really have yourself what I like to call a real Amazon business where you're actually making money without having to do anything. Now, let me rephrase that. What I mean by that is, if you buy into our pyramid scheme, what I mean by that is you're not physically buying items anymore. You have a sourcer in the Philippines, which she hired off onlinejobs.ph. She's sourcing the items for you. She is then having those items when you buy it on eBay, instead of her choosing to ship it to you, where is she shipping those items to now?
My prep center.
Yep.
Is
So
that what you're saying?
it's going to a prep center. Yep. Sorry, I'm being confusing. So it goes
Yeah.
to a prep center. We'll talk about that process, but then the prep center, they list her items. They go into her Amazon account, they list it. Her VA goes in, puts in the buy cost condition, so on and so forth, builds out the SKU. We'll talk about that in a second. The prep center will then prep it, list it, ship it, send it to FBA. And then she's leveraging fulfillment by Amazon, FBA, to then when it sells, they will pick it, pack it, ship it, deal with customer service. And your VA in the back end is repricing.
Yep.
Which one sounds a bit more like a real business? I hate to say it. Like one's a
Absolutely.
job, you're working in it all day, and another one, you're leveraging systems. So how's it feel?
It feels so good. It gives me so much more time to do other things that I want to do. Um, I just wish one day that I could just quit my day job and then do this full time, but that's just not feasible right now. Um,
Why
but
isn't it?
well, because my husband doesn't work. He's in school full time. And so once he graduates school and gets a full-time job, then I am able to, quit my job and do this full time. But it's so nice that we can just go and do whatever. And my business is still running. I'm still getting sales. I'm still getting sales that I never even touched the item at all. I didn't source it. I didn't prep it. I didn't list it. Nothing. And I still sold it and I made money. Like that's
But
that's the dream, right?
I'm gonna play what a lot of people say, but I'm not gonna trust a prep center. I'm not gonna trust somebody to receive items and list it, and they're not gonna prep it the right way. My return rate's gonna go from 6% to 60%. I'm sure
I
that could
yeah,
happen.
100% was there. 100% was there.
Me too. Me
That's
too
why
for a
it took you
year.
so long to convince
I
me.
know. That was me. I was just reenacting myself.
That's me too. I
So what
get it.
happened?
You have to determine what's more important, you having control of that item or your time freedom. And like now that I have a prep center, like I didn't realize how much time I spent on items, you know? I didn't realize how much time I spent bringing in my items. And then I didn't realize like me and Joe had to like figure out a time that worked for both of us where we could sit down for 6 hours and unpack and list, take it to the UPS store, take the cardboard, take the garbage. It's the little things. It's like,
Yeah.
it's just these little things that
Yeah.
made up so much time. Now I'm like, what am I doing with all my time? It's
I mean,
crazy.
it was so cool for social media, I'll be honest, like showing all the
Yeah.
packages. Like Instagram loved it, TikTok loved it, because you know how it's a big clown show on social media. The more you just show clowny things, people just love it. They eat it up. But it was a lot of work for sure. I got a lot of looks from neighbors. I don't know, did you get a lot of neighbor looks? Like, what is going on over there? That girl's got
Yeah.
a shopping addiction.
Yeah. Um, our mail guy was like, wow, your wife got a little carried away, didn't she? Yep.
Whoa, she really likes DVDs.
Yeah, because they were all small packages and my neighbor came over one time. He's like, you shop too much. I'm like, I guess so.
It's so funny
Whatever.
because my girlfriend and I, we just went for a walk a little while ago, and I noticed the mailman, he got a new vehicle. They got them in minivans now. And he was like, "What happened to your business? Your business has been shut down the last 3 or 4 months." And I said, "No, I got a prep center now, and I ship everything out to another state." And he says, "Really? What is that?" And I was explaining it to him, and I was like, "How's your life now, man? Like, is it a lot better not bringing all these packages in?" And he started laughing. He actually told me, not today, but another time, he told me he liked delivering to me because I don't know if this is true, but he says he has to deliver a certain amount of packages in a certain amount of time. So by able to do all mine at once, it like made his time better. So maybe he wasn't as happy. Plus, I used to give him a little
Guess not.
bonus, but yeah, he's pissed. So you got a prep center now. What is a prep center? Tell folks what is a prep center, like a high level overview. What do they do? And maybe you could talk a little bit about how does your virtual assistant integrate with the prep center?
So Prep Center, it just they eBay mails the package directly to the prep center. So it's not like they send it to me and then I send it to the prep center. No, it goes directly to the prep center. And they scan in the package and my every night my virtual assistant goes on to our prep center's website and puts in all the information that she's purchased, the ASIN, our buy cost, purchase date, and the quantity and the condition. So she goes in and puts all that information, and then when they receive it, they check it in, and then they kind of put it in a pile until they have about 50 or 100, and then they put it all together and ship it out. So,
Yeah, and I'm opening my phone right now, and I don't know if you're like me. I love going into my shipments. How do I find my shipments again in my app? I forgot. But anyways, I love going in and I love looking to see like, oh, did they ship anything out today? Like,
yeah,
oh wow, they sent out 4 shipments. Like I remember if I wanted to send out 4 shipments of a couple hundred products, like I was working in the garage for 3 hours or so.
yeah, yeah, it's amazing. And we do have the same prep center, but I think the guy that, runs the prep center is does it very well. He knows what he's doing. I have only had one problem in like the whole 3 months I've been there, which is pretty good. Of the hundreds of packages that I've had one problem, not a big issue, you know. And in terms of them inspecting the items, I feel like they're better than me. Like there was like
Yeah.
one DVD where it had a little bit of a rip and they said it was like new, used. Um,
My return rate hasn't gone up very much. I mean, it's gone up a little bit just because I've kind of been dabbling in some more electronics and stuff. And compared to DVDs, like the return rate's just like twice as high. Like my return rate could be anywhere from like 6 to 8%, whereas with DVDs it was sometimes 2 to 4%. But
yeah.
I don't attribute that to the prep center. My account health is fine. I haven't had any major issues or anything. I mean, I'm happy. In the beginning, sometimes I'll be honest, like sometimes they are a little bit slow.
Yeah.
Sometimes what I found is like my sales used to be a lot more consistent, and now I notice my sales are more like down, up like
Yeah.
crazy, like down,
Yeah.
boom, like because
High,
they like,
low, up. Yeah.
is that your sales
Mine
too? Like
too.
Yeah, and I feel like they
Yeah.
kind of like they work in batches.
Yeah. And I'm not
So,
slowing down my purchasing process. So it's just, but then again, they are on the East Coast. And so things get checking a lot faster. So it is faster for me versus a little slower. So for me, it is a little faster than when I was doing it on my own.
yeah, for sure. I was waving. We saw Jessica. We're on a Zoom call as well. So what's up, Jessica? Good to see Lorena. Yeah, that's pretty cool. And one of the cool things about eBay to Amazon compared to like traditional online arbitrage, again, not here to kick down OA, but I gotta stand up for my E2A peeps, is there's no canceled orders, right? If you do traditional OA, some of these websites will cancel your orders if they find out you're a reseller, right? Like Target.
Yeah.
Also, you could become tax exempt super duper easy on eBay. Whereas if you're doing traditional OA, because we were just talking before, because you're dabbling, I know you're going through like the OA challenge and whatnot, which is great. Big
Yeah.
shout out to Chris Grant. I mean, if
Yeah.
you're going to learn OA, that's the guy to do it from. But it's a little more challenging to become tax exempt, right?
Yeah. The only way to really become tax exempt is to get a prep center in a tax-free state. That's the only
Mm,
way to really do it.
yeah. Yeah.
So,
So you might have to change if you start going down that route a little bit harder. And
yeah.
and that's the
Yeah,
thing.
but
Yeah, keep going.
I don't know if I could give up E2A. I don't know. The numbers are so good. I've got everything set and good to go. It'll, I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know.
We'll see. We'll have to do another update video. So, yeah, I mean, for me as well, the prep center has been great. I mean, it's pretty simple. Again, you purchase an item and then they have something with our prep center. It's called planned inventory. So, like Amanda was saying, you put in your ASIN, the condition, your list price. And then I think you might fill out something in the SKU. I forget. My VAs do it now. There's like 3 or 4 things you fill out. And essentially, when the items show up to the prep center, they scan the barcode of the item in, and that'll pull the tracking number up into the software. So it'll move it from planned to received. And then once they receive it, they're going to build out your shipments. So it'll transition from, again, planned to receive. They received it, they scanned it in, to received to shipped. And then you could see inside your Amazon Seller Central if it's been shipped out, so on and so forth. So yeah. Do you see yourself going back? You're gonna, you and Joe gonna get to work in the garage again, start dealing with all that trash and
No. Now that we've got a taste of what it's really like, it's like, why did I do it for so long? You know,
yeah.
why
What's
did I do
what's
it
your
sooner?
what's your goal for 2024? What do you want to do in total sales?
250. So
Hey,
I gotta scale a little bit more and I gotta buy a little bit more, but we're on our way.
at that 40% profit margin, or is it going to lower
Yeah.
at scale? Yeah.
I might, yeah, with eBay to Amazon 40. That's where I'm at.
What
Where
if
I'm
what if you do traditional OA? What do you think you're gonna have for your profit? Like 20 maybe, 25?
25, 30. I think
Yeah.
30 is kind of where I'm comfortable at,
If
you
your
know.
things don't if your listings don't tank in price.
I think I'm still gonna go along the same method of slow sellers. I love the idea of something selling for 15, 20 times a month, but only 3 or 4 sellers. I love that because if it sells consistently, you and those 3 or 4 other sellers just make it just rolls. I love that idea.
And the reason why, here's the thing, guys, you're going to see a lot of OA sellers saying 30, 40% minimum. But the thing is with traditional OA, yeah, you could buy 20, 30, 40, 50 in an item. But if you can buy it, a million other people can as well. Which, if
Yeah.
you get a bunch of more sellers coming on a listing, it's going to tank the price. Well, you might say, well, Steve, that doesn't make any sense. You could do the same thing on eBay. No, that's not true, because we're buying vintage, discontinued items where there might only be 1 or 2 available on eBay. I mean, you could look at Mercari, Facebook Marketplace, but there's just not a lot of them out there. So the reason why I like E2A, and I always feel like I have to stand up for us E2A flippers, because I feel like 99% of the clown show, they just don't understand it. There's just not a lot of sellers on these listings.
Yeah.
So it's just like, I don't know. Keep me posted with traditional OA. I would love to hear it because I know you'll be honest and actually tell me the truth. So
Absolutely.
keep me posted. Keep me posted with it,
Well,
and keep that invoice close. So
it'll keep
knowing
me
what
warm
you,
at night. Don't you worry.
yeah, knowing what you know now in your business, is there anything you wish you did sooner as an Amazon seller? A year and a half down the road, are you like, damn, I should have been doing this a year ago? Or, what comes to mind?
Honestly, FBM sooner and
Mm,
not listen to the naysayers that FBM doesn't sell. FBM sells, it sells for the same price if the prices are comparable. You just got to be a little bit more picky, but it works and it's valuable and it's there. There are some people who I know who are only FBM and they're killing it. So I wouldn't have
love,
listened to those naysayers, I guess.
love it. Love it. And we already talked about your goal for 2024, which is 250,000 in revenue with around a 40% margin. Is there anything else? I mean, you've got the VA, right? You've checked that box. You got the prep center, you checked that box. Is there anything else that you are looking forward to doing, hiring, expanding to? I mean, anything that's getting you excited for 2024 that you want to share?
I'm excited about my YouTube channel. I'm finally getting it up and running and going
Share
after
it.
how
Drop
long
that,
you told me.
drop that information. We'll put it in the beginning of the video as well for the when we edit this and whatnot, but share everybody your thoughts there and your channel.
Yeah, I'm excited to just share my journey and kind of get more, people out there and talking about Amazon and honestly, we need more women in this space. And so I'm here to do that. And I'm just excited just to document my journey going from like either doing eBay to Amazon or doing, online arbitrage. And we really haven't talked about this, but I'm also doing retail arbitrage too a little bit. So I'm
Mm.
just documenting all aspects of my business. And what I do love about Amazon is there's so many ways of doing it. There's not a wrong answer. It's just what fits for you and your personality and what works for you and your lifestyle too.
So
So
what's your YouTube channel? Is it just your
flipping
name?
with Amanda.
Oh, flipping with Amanda. All
Yes.
right. All right. So yeah, go check out her videos.
Yes.
You've got yourself a rock star video editor. You're doing it big
I
over there.
do. I
So
do. Yep. Got an editor. Yep.
let's go. Cool.
Yep.
Well, thank
Yep.
you so much, Amanda, for sharing your journey and putting up with my crazy questions.
Yeah.
And
Of course, anytime.
thanks for coming with the beautiful voice.
Welcome anytime.
Cool. Awesome. All right, guys. Well, appreciate you. I'm going to end this coaching call now, but we'll open up the floor for folks in Reselling Freedom if anyone has any questions. But with that being said, much love. All right. We got Jessica here. I don't know if we could unmute her. I don't know if she's still I don't know if she's
With a
still here. I want to
customer or
say,
something.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. She's at the shop. What's up, Lorena? Good to see you.
Hi, Sherry.
Sherry, what's up, Sherry? Yeah, it was a good interview. I appreciate you sharing all that.
Thanks for having me.
Lorena says, yes,
Oh,
Amanda.
thank you. You were in the OA challenge with me. I think I remember seeing you in there. So I'd love to connect with you and see how you liked it or not liked it. Or I'd love to hear your opinions on it because I enjoyed it.
Did he go hard into tactical arbitrage? Because I think that's a big part of it, isn't it? What are your
Yeah,
thoughts on that, like off the record?
I've been using it, so it's doing well.
Nah.
There's a lot of secrets, Steve.
Yeah, you're up to a lot of things that I don't know about. You're a little sneaky little Sandy. Good for
I
you.
enjoy it. I think it's a hard learning curve. But once you learn it and understand it, I think it can be a great tool, just like Flip Mine.
You know that's what all these guys selling the leads list and stuff. They're just putting VAs through it. That's it. But the thing is, like, there's still value there, obviously, because tactical arbitrage. Like, I'm a beginner with it. Like, I know how to use it, but like, I'd be lying if I told you I knew any more than like 10% of it, right? As
Yeah,
a matter of fact, I used it a little bit for E to A before I learned about Flipmine and the
yeah.
different things we've evolved into. But that is a powerful freaking tool. But it's interesting because they sold. There used to be a guy named Alex Moss who ran it. I think he was from Australia, and he reminded me of like Caleb Roth. Remember how Caleb Roth was like the face of Scout IQ, and then he left, and everyone like
Yeah,
kind of shit on it. And the same thing happened with tactical arbitrage. And the
exactly.
community kind of turned on it, but it looks like they're trying to rebuild themselves back up again.
Yeah, they took away the scan minutes, which is nice. And so that's been a huge help and that's been turning in the right direction. So we'll see. I'm still new to it, so don't quote me on
Have you been
that.
buying anything, like using it? Like have you been running scans at nighttime and waking up and like running through? I don't trust you. You look like you got
I
some
know
secrets you want to share. Like you're like you ain't putting this in the
there
video.
is so much you don't know, Steve.
Jesus. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we've been purchasing for a couple days now. So
When you coming out with your leads list?
tomorrow, just kidding. No,
Nice.
I don't know. I kind of have a weird feeling about leads lists and stuff, so we'll see. Because
Yeah,
it's
I
just a
mean,
VA going and doing them, finding something great and posting it for people. Yeah, no thanks.
I, I joke, but the reality is if you get a leads list where they're only sharing it with like 10 people and the people aren't like stupid, where they have like their repricers tanking it all or going crazy, like you guys can all play nice, but I think the issue is like kind of your Fiverr experience when that was different because that was like E to
Yeah.
A.
Well, it's
But
and people can lie and say like, "Oh, this is only open for 10 people." They could lie and give it to 30 people. Like some people have no integrity when it comes to the money that they're making. I'm not saying you did that, obviously, but like I just don't trust other people when it comes to making money. Like, oh, I can make
100,
30x instead of 10x. Okay, no one will know. I'll just make all this extra money.
that's what,
I bought yeah.
oh no, keep going, keep going.
I've bought leads lists to get inspired and go down rabbit holes and try and do it that way. I don't buy the products that are on the list.
Yeah.
Personally, I've bought two leads lists before. That's
Yeah.
it.
If you buy a leads list, try to buy, like, for example, when I did one for E2A, we use Stripe as our payment processor, and you could build a hard code into it where it literally changes the number. Every time they buy it, it goes from 8 to
Oh,
7 to 6. And like that's hard coded in. Gumroad, that's another one I see a lot of people using, which it kind of hard codes the number. Again, they could like email behind people's back and whatnot. But
yeah.
I would look for that. If they don't have like any real hard coded like Stripe number going down, I'd be careful with that. And it's all reputation. Like,
Well, and they
if it's
could
some,
put in
yeah.
30 instead of 10. Like, who's to say, like, you know what I mean? I don't
Well,
know.
like for example, with mine, if you ever buy a leads list for mine, it
Oh,
shows you on the checkout 10, 9, 8, 7, 6.
oh,
I mean,
that's
I'm
cool.
sure, there's a way you could probably hire someone to do some crazy stuff, but yeah.
Editing, coding. Yeah.
But again, it's reputation. It's like if Chris Grant recommends somebody and like I know Chris Grant like really cares about his reputation, like I'd be
Yeah.
more inclined to do business with a leads list where it came from someone I trust whose reputation is on the line versus going to Fiverr. That's my point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I get that 100%. I get that. Yeah.
Lorena says I bought Steve's leads list. Oh, thank you.
Yes.
But did you use it? That's the question. It's funny. I don't know if people are using my leads list because I keep buying it all the time. Because the thing is with an E2A leads list, it's 100 times more work than a traditional OA leads
Yeah.
list, I feel like, because you have to go pick it one by one by one. Oh, Lorena says buying board games. Heck yeah, let's go.
Awesome.
She's like, I'm not putting my money to waste. I'm getting my money back times 10.
Yeah.
Heck yeah, cool, cool. So yeah, I think just hit 2K for the day at 3 o'clock. My prep
Wow.
center must have I don't say that to toot my own horn, but my prep center must have shipped a bunch of stuff in because it's like I swear I'm at like $500 days or like 4K days now. It's like one or the other.
Yeah. There were days I had 120 and then other days I had like 1500. I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah. Are you still buying a lot right now? Like what are you spending per day on eBay?
Um, I'm not buying as often. I'm trying to kind of pivot a little,
Hmm. Just
but
that scale to be a bit more safe.
yeah, I'm trying to figure out my next move. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
So what are you spending per day like right now on eBay?
300. I was spending five, now I'm doing three.
Gotcha.
Oh, I need to ramp it back up again.
No, but
So
that's smart though. Like, I mean, especially, we joked on the call about invoices, but it's a real thing. Like, I wouldn't worry
yeah,
so much about invoices if you're doing like 10, 20K, but once you start really scaling, it does become a concern. My worst fear is like always having invoices, but then no profit, so.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of crazy. We all do things differently, so
Yep, there's a million ways to do it and make money. The way matter of fact, I've never seen somebody run an Amazon business the same exact way. We
yeah,
all do it like a little bit differently. So, all right,
yeah,
Amanda, I am not going to torch you anymore. We need to rest your throat, get some honey and green tea and
yeah,
but thank you so much for coming on and
yeah.
follow Amanda, flipping with Amanda.
Yes, please.
And all right, appreciate you guys.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Amanda.